The matchup. Give me the XO matchup. Championship Sunday that you are looking forward to seeing the most that might actually affect the W and L more than anything else. What do you think? What do you got for me on that one, Louis?
Yeah, man. There's two of them. All right, one for each game that really intrigued me. Okay, so let's just start with Philly and San Fran. Look, for this game, I mean, this is Clash of the Titans, right? We already know up front that it's going to just be a battle royal. I mean, both of these offensive lines and defensive lines are just studs everywhere, just men, just grown men. But here's the kicker: as good as San Francisco is defensively, and I love D'Amico Ryans, as much as anybody. It's the secondary that's the issue for this team. It's the secondary as far as giving up explosive plays outside the numbers, 15-plus air yards, the big shots down the field. And Jalen does it better than anyone. Jalen Hurts throws a football. You remember Jeff Blake when Jeff Blake used to play for Cincinnati? I played against him when I was with the Browns, the quarterback. He used to throw a real high-arcing moon ball that, I mean, you just would lose it in the lights, man. And Carl Pickens and Darnay Scott and them were coming down with just big play after big play. That's how Jalen Hurts is with A.J. Brown. That's how he is with Devontae Smith. And that worries me. That worries me for San Francisco, especially if they can't pass rush, if they can't get to Jalen against this offensive line. So that's X factor number one in that game. For Kansas City and Cincy, I'm going to boil it down to one guy. And I know look, obviously Patrick's health's an issue as far as how long he can play in this game and whether or not, he can sustain some semblance of mobility. This is about Chris Jones, man. This is about Chris Jones going up against an offensive line that has lost 3/5 of its starting unit.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be going up against a backup right tackle and right guard and Max Sharping. That look, Chris Jones has to wreck this game because if he doesn't, they will lose. If he is not terrorizing, and I mean terrorizing Joe Burrow the way Patrick was terrorized in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago by Tampa, they'll lose this game. Simple as that.
So I love that the way that you just phrased it, because that is rare to just say I can boil it down to just this scenario right in the middle of the line. But I'm with you. And here's the thing, Jones can do that. This is possible. This is more than possible. This could potentially really happen.
Yeah,
Louis.
he's look, Chris is one of those dudes who, at what is he, 6'6", about 315, 320. When you see him up close. I mean, he doesn't look that big. He doesn't look like he's that stout. But he's got those long, long, long arms and has so much power, and he's so fast with his hands. We did that game week 18 out there in Vegas against the Raiders. And I'll tell you what, Alex Bars, who was playing right guard for the Raiders, by the end of that game, he was like, you know what, I quit. If I have to play against this guy anymore, I quit. Because Chris had him on skates the whole day, just throwing him around like he was throwing around, a high school player. He has to do that in this game. And he hasn't had a lot of success really against Cincinnati as far as rushing, or rather, I guess I should say in the playoffs overall as far as affecting games to the degree that he can. If he doesn't, and Joe has time like he did against Buffalo. Now, I know, Buffalo, you're playing on a slick surface. Defensive lines don't really have great footing. Joe's getting the ball out quick. They're running downhill in the running. I know there's a lot of excuses for Buffalo, although that's another story about their D-line. But this game, it's going to be cold, but the surface will be fast. And him, Derek Nottie, Frank Clark, these guys all have to absolutely, Mike Dana, they have to go off in this game. Because not only can Joe throw it, obviously, I mean, you see how Samaje Perine's running the football. You see how Joe Mixon's running the football.
Right.
These guys are not messing around, man. And so, I mean, Chris has to have that game that people go, it's him and Aaron 1 and 1A at defensive tackle in the league. That's it. He has to have that game.
Louis Riddick of ESPN here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what would you boil it down to if you could, just in I know you mentioned the secondary, but Bosa and Lane Johnson, I mean, would you say just how Lane is holding up? Because wouldn't you want to see if you're D'Amico Ryans, like, okay, the Giants didn't really test Lane Johnson's groin. We shall.
Yeah.
We shall do that, and we shall do that early and often. And we've got we have the candidate to do it, to say the least.
Yeah, no question.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, the issue becomes, okay, so you have to get them to third down in the first place, which means
I love that.
You have to take care of right. You have to take care of first and second. Where as long as I guess it becomes like, how much do they want to expose Jalen Hurts in the run game? How much do they want to have him getting contacted? If he's feeling pretty good, and that means that the zone read game really is at his disposal, and he's willing to tuck it and run it, then San Fran's they've got an all-day sucker going on there then, okay? Then you have a tough time getting the third down because of how strong and formidable he is in the run game. So now it's up to everybody up front. Like it's up to Eric Armstead, Kinlaw, Samson Ebicam. All those guys have to play their part. Fred, Dre Greenlaw, they got to come downhill and stamp out that run first, because if they don't, then it's not going to really matter on third down. Then Nick can't really do his thing. So that's – I mean, you're on it when you say, look, it really is about the lines, but it's really about the line of scrimmage, first and second down, first and foremost. The same way it'll be for Philly. It'll be the same thing. They have to snuff out San Fran's running game, because if you don't, and then they start getting that inside breaking play action passing game over the middle where, Ayuk just kills you, Kittle kills you, Debo kills you, then it's not going to really it's not going to matter. You're not going to be able to rush the passer if you can't handle first and second down.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.